It's probably pretty obvious that this guitar is inspired by the Chris Cornell Gibson 335 signature model. Now, even though the headstock says Gibson, this guitar started out as an Epiphone with a totally different color, headstock, and clear coat. I stripped all the polyurethane off of it and finished it in this olive drab nitrocellulose. There were a ton of other changes, but instead of going into all that right now, I'm going to point you to a playlist that I put together. You can get to it by clicking in the link in the upper part of the screen or in the description down below. There are about 15 videos right now, and I'm continuing to add to the list. Now the guitar is already done, but I'm going back now and putting together these videos essentially to document each step of the process. I'm going to take care of some low-hanging fruit right now. I'm going to reshape this headstock to the Gibson one. Sorry, I just am. And that means I also need to fill in these tuner holes and re-drill them eventually. So to fill them, I've just got a 3/8 inch maple dowel rod. This is one that I actually used on my Jazzmaster project to fill up the plug where the truss rod cavity is. That was a whole adventure there. But yeah, this is maple. The neck is mahogany. I don't really think it's going to matter that much. I will obviously also have end grain sticking up on both ends. I'll have to kind of fill that in with some filler at some point to make it smooth, but it is a nice snug fit. It's not too tight, not too loose. So I'm just going to cut these to size or length and then glue them in. I'm going to stick them out pretty proud on either side, and then I've got this flush cut saw to just go in and shave them off as close as I can. I'm not worried again about scratching up the back of the headstock or the front really, because I'm gonna have to redo that as well, or at least sand it down. I've got plans, I've got ideas, but this will give me, you know, wiggle room. I can scratch up and get smooth these dowel rods once I've got them glued and set in. So that is the current next step. So I just made a couple of marks at 1 inch intervals along the dowel rod, and then I'm just going to take a regular old hacksaw and chop those off. The headstock itself is about a 1/2 inch thick, I think. So 1 inch is going to give me as much as I need on either side, hopefully, so I can use that flush saw. All right, I've got these cut to length. I'm just going to apply a liberal amount of wood glue, place them in there, let them set overnight for at least 24 hours. I'll probably have to prop up the guitar vertically just so there's no risk of them falling out if it's laying horizontally. But yeah, that's basically it. So let's do it. All right, my camera died before I was able to show you me installing all these dowels into the holes, but I think you get the idea. This has been drying overnight, not quite 24 hours yet. And honestly, I think there's a couple spots where I can see an air gap where, let me see if I can turn it around here. I could almost see through the hole, so obviously there's not enough glue in there, and there is a gap. So I'm either going to add some more glue, try to force it into those holes before I use the saw, or do it after. I'll probably do it before. I don't know. I really don't know yet. So we're gonna get to all that a little bit later. All right, it's been over 24 hours since I put these dowels in, and the glue has definitely had time to set. I'm going to take my flush cut saw here and just gonna shave them off, starting on the back of the headstock, just because I thought it's the least seen area out of all the ones I have to get to. And I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and use some cheap insurance, put some painter's tape down along the edges and everywhere, just in case. And so that is what I'm gonna do now. And then I'm going to get to cutting. All right, I got my tape on here and I'm ready to cut. Here we go. I don't know if I should do 2 at a time. Let's just try it. Of course, I'm not really protecting that inside part there, but oh well. All right, there we go. First one done. I don't really think you need to see the other ones. It's just gonna be the same thing again. So I'll cut those and then we'll get to the front and do all those as well. While I'm here, I think I'm going to sand down the top of the headstock a little bit to get the top of these dowels more flush and to see if I have any gaps that I might need to put a little bit more wood glue into. Got a little paper towel here and I'm going to shove it in this truss rod cavity just to keep out any dust out of there. Might take another one just so that the dust stays out. It doesn't need to be in there, so hopefully that's good. So what I think we got going on here is little valleys where the washers of the tuners were pushing down on the clear coat and all the finish on top of the headstock. So you got these valleys around the tuner holes. So I'm gonna have to get all this material down eventually. And my plans for a veneer, I'm pretty much gonna have to sand this down a lot, I believe anyway. Otherwise my headstock thickness is gonna be too big or too thick. So we got a lot of sanding to do, I believe, on top of this headstock. I probably need to put some tape right here so I don't sand the fretboard right there, but I'm just kind of getting a feel of it right now. And like I said, trying to get these dowels a little bit more flush and see what I'm working with. So I've been going at this a little while and I've got these weird lines forming around. I don't know what that is. And a little bit up here too. It's not gotten that hot, I don't believe, so I don't think it's like the veneer's coming off, but that's weird. I don't know what that is. And I still have these valleys. They haven't disappeared yet. All right, I've been sanding a while now, actually a long time with the orbital sander, and I've pretty much gotten rid of the valleys around the dowels, and the discoloration, the lines kind of disappeared as well. I guess they were just layers of oddities. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't really need to go any further. I'm probably going to try to vacuum those little dust particles out of the spaces around the dowels and then fill those with some wood glue or something just to make sure they're good and solid. So this image right here is giving me serious vibes of a video I did about 10 years ago now when I reshaped the Epiphone headstock of a Les Paul that I had, and I never thought I would be doing this again. But I have videos and images that look pretty much just like this. And so yeah, here I am 10 years later. That video has about 500,000 views. It's still my most watched video on YouTube to this day. So go watch that if you haven't already and get a good dose of deja vu. All right, got me some Walmart brand toothpicks here and some wood glue. And I've actually tested these to see how far down they go, and they actually go pretty far down. So this is interesting to me. Goes that far in, which is that far into the headstock, which is pretty crazy. So like that. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, I guess, but it's pretty deep in there. Anyway. Doesn't matter. I need to glue these in, so let's get to it. And I'm probably just gonna break them off far enough above. I could take some wire cutters, so yeah, that'd probably be a cleaner way to do it. And so on and so forth. I'm not gonna show all this on the video, but you get the idea. They're going in there just fine. The glue's gonna dry and then we're gonna sand it all down. So not much to it. It's been over 24 hours now, so I'm gonna take my Japanese flush cut saw and just take off the excess portions of the toothpicks that I put in these tiny tuner holes. At least that's the idea. Okay, that's the worst of it. I'm now going to take my orbital sander and get to work on the back of this headstock. I'm going to go ahead now and sand down the back of the headstock, getting all the color off. Obviously there's some pretty low spots around the tuner holes. You can see the color still hanging on there, some valleys. I don't really know that it's important to get down into that and to get that color off of there. I may just quit here and make sure that all the little gaps are filled up, maybe with some more super glue. I think this is pretty much good for the back. Need to get this area here where the headstock meets the neck and the sides. I'm not going to worry about the top because I'm going to have to chop that off due to the Gibson headstock shape, and then the sides as well I need to kind of shape. So I'm not going to worry about the color and the clear coat on the sides for now. I'll get to that a little bit later on.
I've been toiling with hands to the plow, but the blade's not even breaking the ground. I've been trying